Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos Nachamu, we have the privilege of reading Parshas VaEschanan. And we know that in Parshas VaEschanan, there are some very important inyonim and mitzvos. The Shema Yisrael, of course, is in Parshas VaEschanan, and the Aseres Hadibros, the 10 Commandments, are repeated in Parshas VaEschanan. But there is a difference between the first mention of the Aseres Hadibros in Parshas Yisro and the second mention of the Aseres Hadibros in Parshas VaEschanan. What's that difference? All Aseres Hadibros are there, but there's one pasuk in the last of the 10 Commandments that is found in Parshas VaEschanan that is not found in Parshas Yisro. Which pasuk is that? It's the pasuk at the very end of the Aseres Hadibros when the pasuk says the words V'lo sachmod eshes re'echa. You're not allowed to lust, as Rav Shamshon Ferlhurst translates it, after that which is the wife of your friend. V'lo sisave beis re'echa. One may not covet or desire the house of your friend. Sodehu v'avdo v'amaso shoro v'chamoro v'chol asher l're'echa. One may not only lo sachmod, which is mentioned in the first Aseres Hadibros, but there's an additional part to that of the 10th commandment, v'lo sisave. One cannot covet or desire what another person has of any of his physical possessions. What's the difference between lo sachmod and lo sisave? And it's interesting that they're counted as two separate commandments of the Taryag mitzvos. One is not lusting, and the other one is not desiring after something that one's friend has. Now, in order to fully understand this, we have to go to the Sefer HaChinuch, and the Sefer HaChinuch makes an important distinction between these two. And if you'll take a look at mitzvah 416, which is Tuf Tes Zayin, you will see that the Sefer HaChinuch explains exactly what the difference is. And he explains, V'kosav HaRambam Zichrono Livrocha. You should know that it's written by the Rambam of blessed memory, She'ein shnei halavim, that these two no laws, She'ein lo sachmod she'beseder vayishma Yisro, which the first one is talking about lo sachmod mentioned in the book of in the Sefer on the Seder of Yisro, velosis ave she'beseder zeh, and not desiring, which is mentioned in Parshas VaEschanan, lavin kefulin be'inyan echad. They're two separate lavin in one subject. Aval heim shnei inyanim. But they're two separate things. And the Chinuch goes on to explain in detail what the difference is. We'll read it quickly. Shalav de lo sachmod yimna enu milakachas b'shum tzad. The word lo sachmod means we can't get it in any way. Bein bedomim, bein shelo bedomim. Whether with money, paying for it, or not paying for it in some way. Ma she kana zulasenu, what another person might have purchased. Im einenu chafetz limkar oso davar. If the other person doesn't want to sell that thing, you can't buy it from him. V'lav zeh delosis ave, while the commandment of not desiring, yimna'enu afilu ataiva, will hold us back from even having the feeling. So lo sachmod is you can't get it in any way. Even if you buy it, even if you pay him top dollar, pay him more than top dollar. I want that particular object. I want that car. The car sells for $30,000. I will pay you $40,000, but I want that car. That is transgressing of lo sachmod. Not only lo sachmod, but also lo sis ave. You can't even want it, because even if you pay for it, you've transgressed by allowing yourself to want it. And the Sefer Chinuch goes on to say, and don't think for one moment that just desiring someone else's object is not something you can control, that you can't control your feelings. It's not so, says the Chinuch. It's not so that you can't control your feelings. He goes on in that same vein to say the following: Ve'ech tavi aTorah niya b'ma she'efshar lo la'adam la'amod olav. How could the Torah demand that you have to hold back on something that is so difficult for a human being to control? Shezeh hadover eino kain. It's not so. You can control it. Amazing. Velo yomru oso zulosi hatipshim haraim v'hachatoim b'nafshosam. Only foolish people who want to sin say you can't control that. Ki ha'omnom, because the fact is and the truth is, biyad ha'odam limnoa atzmo umachshevosav ta'avosav mikol ma sheyirtza. A person has the ability, Hashem has given us the ability to control our feelings in whatever it is we desire and want. Uvedato laharchik ulekarev chefso bechol hadvarim kirtsono. And a person can bring about through one's own desire. V'libo mosor biyodo al kol asher yachpots. And a person has the ability, because his heart is into one's hand. Hashem gave us free will, and we can control ourselves. So we see that there's a tremendous difference between just wanting something, and it's an object. We're not talking here about not objects. If a person, for instance, has the brilliant gift of much Torah, we can be jealous of that. In fact, we can go and get it. And if we want to say, but I wasn't given the brains of that person to be able to absorb it all, that may be true, but you can absorb the same percentage of your brain that he's absorbed of the percentage of his gifted ability. We can accomplish much that we want with our own desire, and God forbid, bring us down to the lowest levels in the areas that we desire from others, the objects that they have, and we should not do that. And consequently, there is this extra law, says the Rambam, not only of lo sachmod, but velo sis ave. There is an interesting comment by the Netziv based on the last Mishnah in Masechta Makos. It's actually in Masechta Makos on Daf Chav Gimel Amud Beis, which we end every Pirkei Avos session with. Ratza HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'zakos, says Israel. Hashem wanted to make Israel very filled with merits. So he gave them a lot of mitzvahs. So you'll say, what? Wouldn't I be better off not having so many mitzvahs to do? No. You don't understand. Let's take a mitzvah, for instance, where it says that you have to wear tzitzis. It says, v'asula em tzitzis. You have to make tzitzis. What about the mitzvah of Chag Hasukos Ta'aselecha? It says you should make a festival of sukkahs. Do you know there's a mitzvah to build a sukkah? The building of a sukkah is a chelik of the mitzvah. What about v'samachta b'chagecha? You should rejoice on your festivals. There is a simple mitzvah that's attached Anyway, you're going to rejoice by getting together with your family and eating a luscious meal and singing and dancing. Anyway, you're going to wear tzitzis. You need a separate mitzvah to make them. You have to have them. And a lulav and an esrog, you have to have. And matzos, you have to have. The making of the matzos is the shem matzos mitzvah. You're getting mitzvahs by doing what you need to do anyway. Hashem has made it so easy for us to acquire so many mitzvahs because we need to do it anyway. Because in order to get it, we have to know it. In order to know the mitzvahs of the Torah, we have to learn the Torah. And consequently, the learning in and of itself is a great gift, says the Nitziv. And consequently, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says Israel, he wanted to give us a tremendous zechusim, levikach hirba lehem Torah mitzvahs. He gave us all these wonderful mitzvahs. We should take the opportunity to do as many mitzvahs as we can, to see to it that we fulfill as many mitzvahs as is possible, and to enjoy them, and to enjoy the doing of them, the purchasing of them, the fixing of them, the getting ready. We enjoy cooking for Shabbos, and we enjoy the simcha of singing together on Shabbos and on Yom Tov. We enjoy the beauty that comes from the observance of all the commandments of the Torah that Hashem has given us, lahagdil Torah ulahadira, in order to make the Torah great and to bring it more beauty and pleasure. So now, on this beautiful Shabbos Nachamu, when we want to bring about a Nachamu for all of Klal Yisrael, let's see if we can't plug into that and see if we can't enjoy the simcha of the mitzvah that comes from the performance of all the gifts that Hashem has given us, as we say Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, and we should be zocher to see the fulfillment of the Jewish people doing the mitzvahs and enjoying them, and consequently bringing about the Geula Shalema B'Karov. Shabbat Shalom Uvarach, and we wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos Nachamu, a Shabbos in which we have Nechama, and we could sing and dance in the salvation of Klal Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom Uvarach.